Hey everyone, it's Vestic, and I'm here with a Persona 5 Royal review. It's not going to be a quick one because this game is huge and there's quite a bit to cover. But I'll start out by saying I enjoyed playing this game thoroughly. It was a great game. Lots of care was put into all the dialogue, all everything, and you could tell how much the people that created this game really wanted it to be good. And the time and the care they took into making it good was very much appreciated by this guy here. Anyways, Persona 5 Royal, what is it? It is a very long JRPG. This game took me 150 hours to complete. It was my first Persona game, I think. I've played the Shin Megami Tensei. I didn't murder that. I've played that series a little bit, but I'm pretty sure this is my first Persona game ever. And I severely underestimated how much time this would take me. I started playing mid-January and it is mid-June by the time this video is out, at least. So yeah, that's 5 months. 150 hours in 5 months. That is a huge game. I also got this game on sale, so for me, the dollar to entertainment and gameplay value was ginormous. And as far as games go, I usually go by the $1 per hour metric. Some games are just great and they're short and that's fine. So other games are less than 60 bucks and they shouldn't be. You guys know the problem. You've been through it. You've played video games before. So this game, as far as value to gameplay, is extraordinary. Persona 5 Royal takes place in Tokyo. Your protagonist that you see here on the video is mostly a silent protagonist. He does have some dialogue in cutscenes. He has battle dialogue, and then he has some dialogue in other places, but mostly he's your typical silent JRPG protagonist. The game centers around a group of high school students with you as the leader that take on bad adults. And it gets more into that with the main mechanic of the game, which is changing hearts. So instead of going around murking bad guys and just killing them, you change their hearts. The gameplay itself is a lot of story and dialogue, as most Persona games I understand are. They have just a lot of dialogue. There's a lot of backstory to every character, and this game, oh my gosh, this game, almost every single character, including the NPCs and the very NPCs, have an ongoing story throughout the whole game. And if you talk to them all the time, you will see how they progress through the year. The game takes about a year in game time to complete. And it's really cool seeing, I handpicked a couple of people just to talk to every time I passed them, and they had different dialogue every single time I talked to them, which was awesome. Speaking of the dialogue, the game also has a confidant, or its affinity system for your teammates and NPCs, and this is how you go throughout the game and get more battle experience skills. That's the word, sorry. More battle skills, more passive skills, more out-of-game options in places such as stores. There are 9 dungeons in Royal, and in the normal Persona 5 there are 8. And each dungeon took me about 3 to 4 hours to complete. And you can do big chunks of them all at the same time, or you can go in as many times as you want until the dungeon is closed. So there's no set way to play and get through a dungeon. You can take your time, you can just run through it like I did. There are options for how you want to tackle the game. And speaking of options, this game offers 5 difficulty levels if I count right. There are 2 easy modes. There's a easy mode and an easy mode, which are the normal things. Enemies do less damage, you do more damage, you get more money and experience after every fight. Normal's just the baseline game. hard is the normal hard, where enemies deal more damage and you deal less damage to them, you get less experience, less money. But the fun one is called Merciless, and that is the optional hard mode, where if you attack an enemy's weakness or they attack yours, you do or take a bunch more damage. So they have damage multipliers on weaknesses. Other than that, you still deal less damage to enemies and they deal more damage to you. And then the big change from hard mode is that you gain more money and more experience in Merciless mode. And the awesome thing about this is that you don't have to complete the game once to unlock any of these modes. They are unlocked from the beginning, and you get to choose them whenever you want throughout the game. If you choose safety mode, you're locked on safety mode for the rest of the game. All the other difficulties are interchangeable. I switched up to Merciless for one boss fight because it was annoying, and then went back down to normal for the rest of the game. So let's jump into the bad. This list is not very long. This game is amazing, and I loved almost every minute of it that I played. The bad. The game is long. I am not a full-time gamer. This is more of a hobby. 150 hours over 5 months is a huge investment. Huge. I wasn't sure if I was going to finish this game because of how long it was. Not because I didn't want to finish it, but just the sheer amount of game that I had to get through. There is also your mascot character, who is like Navi from old Zelda. Hey, listen, right? Yeah, this character controls a bunch of the things you can and can't do. Sometimes it gets kind of annoying. I don't need to be told when to go to bed. But anyways, at the beginning of the game, it's helpful, and then it just doesn't ever die down through the end. And so it's just on repeat through the whole game. Kind of got on my nerves a bit. We'll jump to the good. Said the game is long. That is also a good thing. The game is very long. If you enjoy the game, then you have a lot of game to enjoy. And you can get through it, taking your time, get through it fast. However you want to play the game, this game is going to offer you a lot of gameplay. It offers replayability because of the difficulty modes. You can just do hard mode or Merciless after your first playthrough if you want. Merciless is more of a tactical hard mode because of how the weakness damage works. And hard mode's just a harder normal mode. Unless you played through that first, I don't know. But the Confidant order is important. And as my first playthrough, I didn't know, because I really didn't know what all the Confidants gave you as you increased your affinity with them. But if you do your Confidant dialogue in different orders, you're going to get different skills and different passives and different unlocks throughout the game that will change how you have to play some parts of the game, which is really cool. There are ways to get all of your affinities maxed out, but from my experience, you're going to need some sort of guide if you only want to play through this game once to get all of your affinities maxed out for every Confidant. So if you only want to play through the game once, my recommendation would be get a non-spoiler guide for Confidants and go through it using that. Let's see, the main game mechanic is fun. It's the changing hearts instead of just going and nuking bad guys. It's unique as far as when I compare it to some of the games I played recently. I have had big breaks between games, so it's kind of hard for me to remember back that far. But as far as that plays into the game, it feels different enough to be entertaining. And the game also hits on many emotional topics, such as most Persona and the Shin Megumi Tensei games do. They hit on emotional traumas, they hit on your stereotypical bad guy motives and the less stereotypical bad guy motives as well. And a lot of the emotional things in this game were very relatable to me. They approached them in a very real world but video gamey kind of way, and it helped me connect with a couple of the characters that I didn't think I was going to connect to. which was pretty awesome. I love video games for that. It's just a book you can play, and this video game is very well written. There's not a whole lot of plot holes that I noticed in my playthrough. The dialogue, although it's long, is very engaging. Most of the main story dialogue is voice acted, and I did mine on the English voice acting setting, and there weren't many voices that I had a problem with. I thought they did really well picking out their cast, and the cast did really well doing their voice lines. So no complaints there. The art style is, as you can see, very colorful. The cutscenes are in kind of an anime fashion, and the models, the game models, I think are really well done too. Whatever that 3D style is for the models, good job. I liked it. The OST is where some people may have problems. The soundtrack, there are a lot of people that I've talked to that don't like singing in their game soundtracks. They just want background music. Singing's distracting. That's not a big deal for me as long as it's not. As long as the singing's not super distracting for me, it doesn't matter to me. The first few times you notice it, and then as you get on through the game more, it really just becomes part of the track for me. But there are many main areas that have music where there is singing. There are many main boss battles that have music that has singing in it. So if that's a turn off for you and it really ruins the game experience, that may be the one big thing that will turn you off from this game. That, and maybe the dialogue to actual RPG gameplay. There's much more dialogue than dungeon gameplay in this game. But like I said, there's 9 dungeons in Royal, and that's about 40 to 45 hours of dungeon gameplay. So there's still a huge amount of RPG dungeon fighting in the game as well. Even though it's compared to the 100 hours of dialogue that I have in my playthrough. Anyways, as far as the game goes, it is a very, very solid, like 9.5, 10 out of 10. It is up there in my list of backlog games. It's no longer in my backlog, I guess. As one of the better games that I've played, I was really impressed, and I liked everything that I experienced in it. So thank you for listening to all of my word vomit. And with that, Persona 5 Royal is checked off the list, and I hope to see you guys next time. Take care.